Shedeur Sanders injury update. Browns QB returns to practice. Status for preseason finale unclear. Sanders, after a strong preseason debut, has missed time with an oblique injury. Joe Flacco is the starter, but the Cleveland Browns still have question marks as it pertains to their quarterback situation behind the 40-year-old Flacco. While Flacco's place on the depth chart has been decided, rookies Shedeur Sanders and Dillon Gabriel, as well as fourth-year pro Kenny Pickett, are vying to be the Browns' primary backup heading into week 1 of the regular season. Flacco has remained healthy throughout the preseason, but Sanders, Gabriel, and Pickett have all dealt with injuries in recent weeks. Gabriel missed time with a hamstring issue, but returned for the team's second preseason game over the weekend while Sanders, oblique, and Pickett, hamstring, sat out. Browns coach Kevin Stefanski provided updates on Sanders and Pickett following Wednesday's practice. Sanders, who hurt his oblique during a practice last week following a strong showing in the team's first preseason game versus the Carolina Panthers, was back on the field Wednesday. But will the rookie suit up when the Browns close out the preseason at home on Saturday versus the Los Angeles Rams? That remains to be seen. Doing more, and then the important part is finding out how Sanders comes out of today how he felt, Stefanski said. We'll know more both after practice and know tomorrow morning how he's feeling. Pickett, however, will remain on the sideline. Stefanski confirmed that he did not practice and will not play on Saturday as he continues to deal with the hamstring injury that was sustained in late July. Continuing to progress, Stefanski said of Pickett. He's doing everything in his power to get back out there ASAP. Of the Browns' 3 backups, Pickett is the only one that hasn't played in the preseason. Sanders went 14 of 23 for 138 yards and 2 touchdowns in Cleveland's preseason opener against Carolina, but his oblique injury kept him on the sideline for the Browns' second preseason game. With Pickett and Sanders out, Gabriel got the start last Saturday against the Eagles and went 13 of 18 for 143 yards. While he threw a pick-six on his Cleveland's second possession, Gabriel led the Browns on 3 scoring drives in the first half before giving way to fellow backup Tyler Huntley, who played the entire second half. The tinted windows of the Browns' practice facility steamed with the residue of a humid morning and a season's worth of questions. Shedeur Sanders stepped onto the turf like a man testing the width of a door 1 palm at a time. Careful, purposeful, not yet sure whether to push through or wait. The injury had been a punctuation mark in the unfolding sentence of his rookie summer, abrupt, public, and insistently ambiguous. Reports had scrolled and anchors had intoned and social feeds had done what they do best, make certainty out of speculation. Now, with cleats whispering against artificial grass, the word that hovered above the practice, cautious optimism, felt like a compass with a missing needle. He went through the individual drills first, the small rituals that stitch confidence back into the body. Wrist flicks, snap cadence, eyes learning to read moving cartoons of linebackers and safeties. Trainers hovered nearby like careful librarians, offering measurements and nods more than pronouncements. When he moved through footwork, there was a new economy to it. Less flourish, more repayment to the structure that had been borrowed by the injury. It was the way someone returns to a favorite book after a long absence. The lines are familiar, but you read slower, savoring what you can, wary of what might be missing. On the sideline, veterans watched with the exact level of curiosity that teammates afford one another. Protective, practical. Some gave him quick, terse thumbs up. Others kept their distance, not out of distance, but because optimism arrives in stages. The coaches cataloged everything with clipboards and micro-expressions, their faces a ledger of risk and reward. They spoke softly in the huddle afterward, not making promises but marking possibilities. When the period called for team reps, Shedeur took the field, helmet in hand like a proposition to be accepted or declined. The first snap felt like a promise. The ball left his hands on a 3-step drop, clean, measured, and the receiver's route unfurled like a ribbon into open air. The completion was not a viral highlight. It was a paper check, small, validated. Cameras and commentators would later pack the moment with meaning. But for those present, it was simply one more thing true in a sea of maybe. Still, the caveat pulsed. He'd returned to practice, yes, but his status for the preseason finale was unclear. That is the particular shape of football's mercy. It gives a flicker and makes you wait for the full switch. The trainers did their tests with clinical precision. Range of motion, strength against resistance, reaction to contact. On the surface, the answers were encouraging. Beneath, The calculus of a player's readiness is part science, part gut, and part a loyalty ledger that weighs a rookie's future against a single game. Shedeur's face, when the media pressed, was honest and small. He did not declare readiness like a headline. He described process like a mechanic. Feeling better today. Took reps. We'll see how it progresses. Those sentences have weight because they contain no theater. They are the language of repair. Fans on the outside composed narratives that fastened to optimism or fear depending on their appetite. Some celebrated the practice return like a holiday. Others reminded themselves that one practice replayed is not the same as 60 meaningful minutes under stadium lights. Social media divided itself into galleries of faith and galleries of caution. But practice is practice, and preseason is a long, winding audition. Coaches prefer to call it evaluation. Players sometimes call it survival. The specter of the preseason finale itself watched from the calendar like an approaching weather front. For a young QB, the finale can be a bridge to relevance or a test the body must pass to keep moving forward. If he played, it could be a measuring stick, a starting point for judgment, praise, or critique. If he sat, it would be an act of patience that might preserve the season but postpone proof. Both choices require trust. In the medical staff, in the playbook, in the player's own sense of readiness. In the locker room afterward, he peeled off tape and practiced small acts of normalcy. A laugh at a teammate's joke, a muttered correction about a route, a gentle rib to the guy next to him. Those moments matter because recovery is not just about muscle, it's about rhythm. It's the cadence of late-night film study, the steady repetition in the pocket, the shared shorthand that turns a group of strangers into an offense. He wrote something down on a small piece of paper. No one saw the words, and perhaps they were only for him. But the act itself read like an affirmation. Close the wound, not the door. Keep the schedule precise. Don't let the noise write the narrative. As the facility lights clicked off one by one, the official pronouncements remained deliberately muted. Progressing, the team statement said, which in training room dialect means moving forward but not yet decided.